What is separation? Segregation. So, on this basis he concluded his second law, the law of segregation, which states that when the hybrid plant is self pollinated, then hybrid is self pollinated, then the two traits separate from each other at the time of gamete formation. This is law of segregation. This can also be done with a plant which has violet color flowers and white color flowers. So, it will be capital P T V and small v. This is violet, this is white, parent generation, F1 violet. So, which trait is dominant? Violet. It can also be with red. And the flowers in the F1 generation will be red. So, which color is dominant? Red, right? And then in the F2 generation, the ratio would be 3 will be red and 1 will be white. So, every time what has happened, that when gametes were being formed in the F1 generation, the two traits separated and the recessive character also expressed itself. Another observation, when does a dwarf trait expresses itself? When both genes are there. The recessive trait can be expressed only when both genes are recessive, but a dominant one will get expressed even if there is a single gene. This is something very important you need to keep in your mind, because the moment there is a dominant trait or dominant gene present along with the recessive one will remain suppressed and only the dominant will get expressed. But did Mendel do only monohybrid crosses? No, he went ahead. In a plant or animal, there is not only one trait, there are many. So, Mendel the great, he became ambitious. He said, let me understand, when the two traits are different from each other, then what happens? So, what he did? He took a pea plant that was tall and it had red flowers. And then what did he cross it with? A dwarf plant that had white flowers. In the F1 generation, what he found, that the plants were tall and white, tall and red, which means both the tallness and the red color is dominant over dwarfness and whiteness, right? He further self-pollinated it, and in the F2 generation, he found that 9 plants were tall and red. 3 plants were tall and white. 3 were dwarf and red. And only 1 plant was dwarf and white, which means both recessive traits. So, this is the ratio which is called 9:3:3:1, the phenotypic ratio. What is important is not just this ratio, The important thing is he started with only 2 combinations, tall red and dwarf white. And what did he get? 4 combinations, tall red, tall white, dwarf red and dwarf white. So, these are the 2 new combinations. From this he concluded that in a dihybrid cross, the 2 traits are inherited independent of each other. This he did with some other traits also. Let us take another combination.